Hi, my beautiful friends. I'm Tammy. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm teaching you how to paint this glorious floral bouquet. It'll be fun, lots of colorful florals. So let's get started. Hi, everybody. We are starting with our watercolor paper today. We're gonna do our bouquet with the 100% cotton, but you can use what you want. Today, I'm gonna use my dagger brush. This is a half dagger, but if you don't have one, let me see. You just use number 6 or number 8 round brush. This is the number 8. And yeah, something with a nice tip, a nice point would be great. So we're gonna do our florals here with some stems. Let's just get right to it. So I've got a lovely mix of paint here. I did spray this down and then I took a long time to film and then it dried. That's what happens in the desert. So we're gonna do the center of our little daisies. And I think I'm gonna do the stippling thing. I do need a circle for them, but I don't wanna fill everything in. So see, I'm using the tip of my brush, just going around in a circle. That's quite large, which means they're gonna be big, but they do have small petals, so it's all good. And then let's do another one over here, pretty close by. So I'm just stippling in that circular motion, kind of like that. And let's do a third one over here. And then maybe it is flat here because it's flipped a little bit. And so the petals will be shorter on this side and longer on this side. And I didn't give myself a lot of space to paint those in, but like I said, they're not gonna be, you know, really big. So it's all good, it's all good. All right, I'm gonna let that dry just a little bit. And I wanna start adding in maybe some snapdragons. I love them so much. A little bit of extra pink here. I do like to start pretty light, the good mix of watery paint. Not always, but all right, we're just gonna add in some little blobs here for those little snaps. These are very loose and interpretive. Let's just squeegee some of that color off of there. And just adding in a couple more. Let's connect that with some green, which is why I love the dagger. It's got a really nice point on it. As that's still wet, we can just connect that in and connect each bloom and a few little leaves. And these are not, you know, real to life snapdragons. This is very loose and hopefully whimsical is what I'm hoping. I'm just going to put some stems back down here. Sketching out that stem, you know, not being too worried or too careful about how I'm placing that. I do want to make sure that this is really bright and vibrant. I want to do another snapdragon. Let's do, I don't want to do it matchy-matchy. Maybe just off this way. So I don't know, in between, well, we've got our flowers that are gonna be here. So I'm just going to add another one over this side. So you're just staggering these two little brush strokes. That's kind of how I do it. Maybe take off some paint and then just like a little bit of buds right there. And let's connect that too with some green. I've got some red, excuse me. I've got morning voice. I'm not gonna connect it all the way because the most frustrating thing is having, you know, little stems and things in the way when you wanna add in some big blooms to fill out your bouquet. I'm gonna do a little snapdragon, just a little one right here. I wanna do sets of 3 and just kind of, it's a little bit, let me see, I don't like that. That's kind of a brownish color. Make it a little bit brighter here. Well, there we go. So yeah, there's all kinds of sounds around here. I also live by an airport and, you know, I often have to pause the video when I'm filming so that we're not gonna get so much feedback. Anyway, it is what it is. You do the best you can wherever you're at, right? All right, just connecting that in right there. Again, not totally going all the way down with this stem, so we can leave some space, and then a little bit of just some easy loose brush strokes for some leaves, just like that. All right, I guess I connect a little bit more. I can connect I can connect it a little more. So I want to do my daisy petals, and we've got some blue here, nothing too crazy. We're just gonna go ahead and continue painting because we can still do that. Even amidst the chaos in our lives, all the things happening, right? It's a good metaphor for life. So really watery mix of very light blue. That's what I'm choosing today. Let me get my reference photo back up. There we go. That's what I'm choosing today for my daisy color. You choose the colors that make sense for you. I'm just gonna start adding in these petals. I wanna make them long enough, but it's not a very, at least with the reference I have, the petals are pretty short. So we're just gonna kind of stick with that, although our middle is quite large. And you know, maybe it's not gonna look like a daisy in the end. That's okay. Make them how you want to make them. I'm noticing these, I want them to be rounder. And now we're getting quite a puddle. So you can sop up some of that liquid if you want to. So that's the thing, you can go really light, but then sometimes you're getting more liquid than you want, and that's all right. We're just adding in those first layers of paint. You know, maybe you want to be more careful than I was and add more white space or leave more white space so that you're not getting this pooling, but it's okay. We'll define things more as they dry. We're gonna do some shorter petals right here. And we will redefine them. It's all good. Just, I'm dipping into the wrong palette there. Okay, girl. All right, I don't know what I'm saying. Sometimes I am surprised by what I do. Okay. All right, we've got our little daisy guys going in there. They're cute. I'm going to not leave them yellow. I'm going to stipple in some brown because I think that'll be cute. So cute. So, you know, maybe they were daisies and now they're turning into something else. This is kind of what I do on this channel. And even when I have a reference photo, I'm just gonna be careful because there's a lot of wetness. I don't want brown running around like that. Oh well. So I'm just gonna add a little bit for now, and I can always add more when the blue is dry. It's okay, you can bleed, go ahead. I give you permission, because then I don't get stressed out. All right, I don't know what I was saying, but I'm liking them. They're looking cute. Kind of little cute focal point happening here. What else do we want to do? I want to do some more yellow, or maybe this yellowy orangey color. It's super cute. It's crazy how fast my palette starts to dry. So we can do these, I don't know if they're, oh goodness, buttercups or something. Adding a little bit of, let's see, what am I doing? I'm all over the place. Something like a buttercup over here. I'm not sure, but we're gonna start with that really nice orangey yellow center. So I'm trying to mix up maybe some brown in here. I really like this yellow, but I need to make a center and I want it to look very different than the petals. So we're just gonna try that. And we'll add in a little bit of spikies. And that's what I like about this brush. Did I say I'm switching? I switched brushes. We're gonna create this little, you know, like a star shape without it being a star, if that makes sense. Because there's too many spikes for it to actually be a star. But these little fireworks. Let's do 3 once again, because sets of 3 seems to be very appealing and attractive. We're gonna let this dry and do its thing, and then we'll add petals later. Let's see, I feel like we've got this happening here. I'd like to do some Queen Anne's lace. Queen Anne's lace is really fun. So let's do it. Got some green here. And with this, I do believe, let's dab our brush. I do believe I can achieve this pretty easily with this because it's a good point. So we're just gonna do like a center, a stem kind of, and then we're just gonna kind of go up these little half circles or C curves like that, and then varying heights. And then we're going to add in a stem, and we can make it a little bit wider too. And then we can stipple in some flowers, which I like to use a blue color. That just seems to work for me. And I'm going to do another one right here. And again, that middle part, and then that C-curve shape, just like so. And again, varying heights with the greens there. And some tendrils. Tendrils, that's a good word. I was looking for a word like that the other day when I was painting these. I'm painting some flowers with some kind of tendril type leaves. You know, it's just a good word to have in your vocab when you're painting florals. All right, let's do a third one for now. They can be bigger than this if you want. You know, I'm just starting small, and you can always add more, right? Always add more. All right, rinsing the brush, dipping into our blue, a little bit darker this time, maybe. When I add water, it's not so dark. All right, we're gonna keep that there and then wait till this dries and then add that in. So our buttercups are actually pretty dry. Let's start by doing some petals. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals on these guys. You know, I'm not necessarily doing buttercups, but in my reference, they have them and they're super cute. Look at how cute they are. So we are just going a bit thinner right down here and getting a little bit wider and thicker. And this petal is gonna kind of blob into that petal, and that's okay. And if you wanna leave white space, you can. If you wanna make those petals touch more, you can. You know the drill. It's your painting, do what you want, la da da da, which I believe. I'm not just saying. All right, adding that in. And look at how fun they are. I like this golden yellow color. I'm using the brush to kind of give me the shapes that I need for these little guys. So if you guys are liking this video, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my videos in the future. We have so much fun on my channel. I think we do. I have fun on my channel. And also, right, subscribing will make sure that you are notified whenever I have new videos, all the things. All right, a darker middle. I think I'd like to do some more of that. And I actually want to, what do I want to do? Let me start adding in some stems here for these guys. Adding in some stems. There's so much for the bouquet that you can do. And I want the stems to be varied. Just kind of poke out like that. We have these guys coming down. And we can even do like a darker version of these as well. Fatter stems, thinner stems. We need stems for these guys. Ooh, that one is a big guy. And we can crisscross them too. Just make them sketchy and fun. And I think that's usually the point of this whole thing for me. Make sure they're sketchy and fun and painterly. I like to see the brush strokes, definitely. All right, time to stipple in these guys here. Everything dries so fast for me. A little bit more below. So I'm literally just going like this, making what kind of looks like little clumps of flowers. With Queen Anne's lace, you've got those beautiful white blooms, and I don't have white, white watercolor to add onto my white watercolor paper. So, tap my brush, we do it this way. And we just, have a good bit of time. We have a good time doing it. There we go. And you can make some lower down and some higher up too, just to show the variation there. There we go. So cute. Okay. All right, what do we need next? These buttercups are really making my day. I want to do a little bit more here and maybe adding a little bit more up here, some tall things. Maybe some type of kind of like a wheat or something. So what color? Actually, I want to do a very deep, almost like a burgundy. And we've got some cool colors mixing on here. Here's some brown. Let's get some red in there. It's kind of a pinkish red. Adding some black to darken it up, because why not? And then we can start with a really watery mix of that, dabbing the brush. And let's just do kind of some like little lines right there. I'm just gonna make them bigger as I go. I just wanted to get some height here. Height. A little bit of stem. And they just build up from there, just adding in these little brush strokes. They're diagonal and they're facing upward. Some filler plants, because it's not a flower. What would you call this? Kind of like a grass situation, maybe. I don't know. Adding in another one over here. And like I like to just start really small. It's kind of like when I make pine trees. They tend to look like that a little bit. All right, so some of that in there, sticking out. And let's do another one right here. So this is the fun part. We're just filling in our bouquet with all the filler stuff, all the complementary things. And we can kind of see what else we need to put in. A little bit of a stem. Yay! Well, that's fun. Let's do some more of those. Let's do another one here. I wasn't planning on this, but my reference has some type of filler like that. It almost looks like a feather too. So you could do your feathers this way. I'm getting a little bit more bold with my brush strokes as I'm feeling confident, which is what tends to happen, right? We start to see, okay, I'm liking, adding this thing or adding that. Let's add another one right here. And then your brush strokes get a little bit more easygoing. Let's just do one right here. So yeah, the fillers complement your main flowers. And of course, our main ones here would be those daisies or whatever we want to call them. But then we have Queen Anne's lace, which, it's complementary, but it's also a little bit larger too. Just gonna try to connect that in. And then this means, because we have these down here, we're gonna have to add in some darker stems at this point to emulate that. Okay, so far so good. I like the shape that we've created here. I really love these yellow flowers, and I feel like we should have yellow coming out in a few other spaces too. So what I want to do is start, let's see. Actually, let's do more of this color, this lovely, beautiful bright color. And I want to do some side-facing florals. Maybe these are the buttercups, I don't know, but just a few little drops of color are going to make these look, this really come together. So here, just side-facing, that's primarily what I'm thinking of right now. And I'm just using the shape of the brush to get the brush strokes on there. And I feel like over here, we might want to have a few of them just kind of hanging out. So I'm angling my brush right there. And I am trying to keep it using it this way, so that the belly is going to be the tip over here. Otherwise, if I go this way, these are going to be more pointed, and I'm not wanting pointed. I'm wanting rounded petals. You leaving a little white space is totally fine. This one didn't get very rounded. You can go over it again if you need to. Just a little bit there, and maybe one over here as well. And then when we start to connect things together, I want another one here. Two, maybe. Oh, we're gonna do those. Since I have yellow on one brush, I'm going to take another brush and use that for the green. And see how just a little pop of color can really change things up. Adding in your stems. So cute, they're so cute. And you don't even have to have the stems connect completely at all. So filling this out, I think we need to add in some leaves also. We've got to do some accents too. So I don't want to overdo any of this. I've been using my sap green, well, forever. I love my sap green. It's a go-to. I'm going to take some blue and just change up our green a little bit. I could take some teal and use that as well. I like to mix my own though sometimes. And we're just going to do a few little leafy moments here. I want to keep this bouquet still really loose and whimsical, so I don't want to add too much to it. I like the shape of it so far, and right now I'm just using the brush and kind of scrubbing it on the paper just to see what kind of shapes we can get. Sometimes I like to do, well, that's a lot of water. Let's take off some of that. Just a little bit of a sketchy moment here. Just like that. That's gonna fill out, you know, some of our bouquet, but it's gonna give, I think, a really undone, sketchy, painterly look that I like. And maybe adding in some more florals right there. I don't know, I'll just do some leaves. Just a little bit, kind of like that. So sometimes it's fun to do a classic leaf, and other times it's fun to try, you know, something a little less traditional. Okay, one thing I'm noticing is it's starting to get a little boxy, which I don't love. So I'm gonna add a couple more of those beautiful florals over here. And just so that we can get like a little bit of a dropping down kind of situation like that, okay? And that way we're not gonna be having so much of an issue with that. I think add a little bit there. And I just wanted to have a little piece coming out right here. We've got something going up there, and we're just always trying to figure out what is the balance? What's a great balance for our florals? I do want to add in a little bit more color. I'm going to go with a really bright orange. I'm just going to use this to drop in color randomly versus, you know, making a very tight floral somewhere. I love color, and I want to emulate that right now and have that show up. So with all these parts here, where there's a lot of white space, it's gonna add in some little florals, some tiny little drops of color. And you don't have to connect this with anything really. Just trying to fill out that space with some of that oranginess, and take a step back, you know. I have to take kind of an observation as well, almost like a little step back every time a plane is coming by. And then I just analyze, like, how is this coming together? Am I enjoying this? One thing I don't like is that we have this stem right over there, but I'm going to darken up these flowers and it probably won't be an issue. Okay, I've got my dagger brush, use what you want, of course. And we're gonna take our green and just fill in a little bit more of that space. I do like this nice tight bouquet. If you want to do a little bit of greenery, you can always just do a few little marks for some quick loose leaves too, you know, and just kind of call it a day with that, okay? All right, we're gonna start darkening things up now, meaning just adding in some of those shadow parts. This one, for example, and I'm gonna switch to my number 8 round. I love the number 8 round because the tip is so great, it's so pointed. This one, you know, I could probably use one or the other. Why am I using 2 brushes? I don't really know when I think about it. So I'm, I'm grabbing some nice blue color here, dabbing my brush because it does hold a lot of liquid, and we're just trying to do, you know, some shadow parts here. So maybe pressing down and then, you know, lifting up and just making some pretty marks. Sometimes you just want to, you know, do the whole petal, and other times you just want to do some cute little marks. And I've dipped into my green, but that's okay. That can be part of our splatter at the end. You know I love splatter. If you didn't know I love splatter, I love splatter. All right, I don't know why I whispered that. So you can make some really pretty intuitive marks. I'm just not going to overthink it. See how that is starting to pop and stand out. And you know, we've got some blue going on. It's okay. We don't have to have white daisies. We can do what we want. So when I'm looking at this, I'm just trying to vary up the marks that I'm making so that it doesn't all look like the same, you know? And some petals will have more, and some will have thinner ones, and some will have thicker ones. And you just, you know, gonna have a lot of fun with it. Easy peasy. I love this. I love flowers so much. Guys, I haven't talked about anything mental health today. How are you doing? Are you taking a deep breath? Are you feeling relaxed? I hope so. I hope this painting experience is causing you to have happy thoughts and reactions this morning. So this is a really bright pinky color. I'm gonna add some purple in there too. For our snapdragons, I want to have a really pretty color. And we're just gonna go over them just like this, see? And that is, it's on the dark side, but that's okay. Some purple, just making some marks, and just most of the time pressing down to the belly, just using the tip of the brush, the shape of the brush, to create our marks for the snapdragons. This one is not too much, I don't think too much about it. It's not complicated, and it shouldn't be for you if it's not complicated for me. How about that? We want to do simple, easy. So yes, mental health. Take deep breaths. You know, what are you going to do for your self-care today? You're painting with me, so there, check, check. But maybe there's something else you want to do. I'm going to go on a walk with my son and get some exercise. That's going to be another thing I'll do for self-care today. And my water is super brown. Look at that. But that's okay. I changed my water. Even though I said it was okay, I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. I'm going to grab a little bit more of a darker blue and add that in over the top, which is something that you can do. Things are just drying like super quick, to add in your, you know, third level of color. So when you're doing your paintings, and I'm just dipping right in, you notice that the first layer was really light, lots of water, a little bit of paint. The second layer was a bit more paint ratio to the water. And then now we're just doing mostly paint, and we're dipping right into that paint well. So we're getting our lightest lights, our mid-tones, our medium colors, and then our darkest darks. And that's going to create the most dimension for these flowers today. So just to keep that in mind when you're painting, let's go ahead and do that with our Queen Anne's lace. So clearly I'm not a traditional painter, or, you know, a lot of these things would not be like, for example, Queen Anne's lace, you know, you can do a light blue and pretend it's white, I guess. But when you start adding in the darker color, you know, what's going on? It's all good. You're going to paint how you want to and create something that makes you very happy. The other day I painted a bouquet that I didn't love. It didn't make me happy, and it made me sad. So I'm trying to make up for it today. Yeah, and sometimes, sometimes that happens. I want to add a little bit more like splatter right here where the flowers are, you know, like they're specifically blue pollen floating in the air. Okay. All right, let's continue onward with these guys. They already have some lovely things happening, but we can add in a few little fine details here. So just with that orange, I'm loving that. So I'm just hitting it up with a little bit. See how I'm just sketching, just pressing down and then sketching. And all of a sudden you've got a more three-dimensional object than with just that first color, you know? And so that's how I prefer to do my flowers. If you want to keep things, you know, just the way they are, you can do the one layer. But if you want to see things really pop and come to life, do something like that. All right, for these guys here, they're a little bit of a brownish color. I'm just gonna add the cadmium yellow to these guys because I think they could use some pales. It's a little brightening up. So a bouquet takes a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it, guys. If you're still with me, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch this tutorial. and all the things. And we have so much great fun on this channel. Says me. I have great fun. I just made brown, burgundy with the yellow. Now we have a brown. For this one here, I am not done. I'm going to do a little bit darker. I'm just going to do this one. And we're just going to stipple in kind of the base, you know, around the middle of the flower. It says definitely evolved from what it was before, which is what happens to me often in my paintings. So, but yeah, self-care. I'm just going back, circling back to that subject. You know, what will you do today that's going to feel like you are refreshed and rejuvenated? Will you be painting today? If you're not painting now, will you spend some time with a friend? Will you exercise on your own? Let's just use this to see if we can brighten up. I'm going really dark. Dabbing. See if we can darken up. Yay, these little filler wheat things. Yay, I love that. So it almost looks like some shadow is happening here. So just do little flick marks. It's also filling in that white space that was still there. And maybe a little bit more in the middle too. Wasn't sure how I would feel about these guys, but I'm glad I put them in. It's kind of a non-traditional bouquet. All right. And you can even trace the stems if you want. That is totally fine. Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, I love that. And we've got some dry brushing happening because the paint was starting to run out on my brush. So that's a great way to do texture as well. That dry brush effect is quite fun. I like it. Okay. All right, so, and we're going a little bit darker now. You know, I want to keep my greens light. I'm just going to do that. We have a lot of dark happening, and this one I want to make it a little bit lighter. So just a mixture of the yellow and the yellow orange, because that really kind of died down, and that's okay. It's a little extra there. All right, so that is our bouquet, guys. I think we're gonna do a little bit of yellow splatter, and then we'll be done. So a little bit of yellow, just a little bit, a little splattering of color, just to make everything super fun and pretty. All right, thanks for painting with me, guys, and I'll see you soon on the next video.